Western European transformations, the development of mercantilism and capitalism. What is mercantilism? Mercantilism is creating a favorable balance of trade and increasing profits. It's where you export more than you import. On the left and the right, you can see how the colonies provided for the mother country by giving things like gold, silver, fur, lumber, and food, creating more exports than imports, and therefore a favorable balance of trade. Later in the presentation, we will be discussing an example of the system known as the Columbian Exchange. What is capitalism? Capitalism is when private companies sell their goods on a free market. There is not a lot of government involvement. One of the changes that came along with capitalism and mercantilism was known as the putting out system. This system distributed wealth into the countryside, which disturbed rural areas. In this system, landlords took advantage of peasants, making them work in very harsh conditions. One of the biggest changes that came along with mercantilism was known as the Columbian Exchange. This was essentially a biological exchange between the American colonies and Europe. As you may notice in this map that shows the biological circulation of the Columbian Exchange, things like coffee, beans, bananas, and even diseases made its way to the colonies from Europe in exchange for things like potatoes, pumpkins, and corn from America. In this primary source excerpt where Columbus announces his discovery of America, he states how gold mines and all commerce within the mainland would bring great trade and profit. This is evidence that supports the use of mercantilism within the Americas. Although capitalism brought wealth and prosperity for the most part, Poland and Russia became the main suppliers of grain and raw material rather than Europe. Capitalism also encouraged social change because of how the relationship used to be between landlords and peasants, while it's now between capital owners and propertyless wage laborers. Bills of exchange were used before and after the emergence of capitalism and mercantilism, although they were more widely used after. Trade with other countries continued to bring in new food crops as before. They also continued to trade using boats and other modes of transportation. As you can see, between 1300 and 1400, the population in Europe was in a steady decline with China due to the effects of the bubonic plague. Then, with the emergence of mercantilism, capitalism, and Europe as a whole, you can see the population start to increase again. This letter from Mexico by Hernan Cortes talks about the food being cultivated in Mexico, like corn and chili peppers, that were brought to Europe by the Columbian Exchange and through the process of mercantilism.
Created using Powtoon.